Our next speaker is going to be Jason, and he's doing a project book. It's an advanced manual, and it's about monodrama. And the objectives of it is to understand the concept and the nature of monodrama, and it's also to assume the identity of a character and to portray the physical and emotional aspects of the character to the audience. And this is an interpretive reading. So interpretive reading is basically you're trying to bring the story to life. You're trying to bring it to life, basically. So the title of Jason's speech is Anorak of Fire. So please welcome Jason.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I guess before we just start timing, I want to give a brief introduction. This is a piece, it's a character called Gus Gascoigne. It's a one-person show, one-man show. And the character is a train spotter, and I should qualify that. I believe over here you call them railway buffs, or rail enthusiasts. So essentially people who stand by overground railway trains, watch them with binoculars, write down the serial numbers on the side of the trains and so on. And at this part of the story, he carries a thermos flask. You call it thermos here? For keeping tea warm. And he's broken his thermos and he's had to try and purchase a new one. And he's been blackmailed by the sexy girl who works in the English equivalent of Walgreens. And so this is where we pick up in that story. Come the night, I was ready. I was still hoping to spot that special loco I was telling you about. I've been informed that it was somewhere in the area, so the evening could be described as full of promise. Didn't think she'd turn up. Come 6 o'clock, she's there. You should have seen what she was wearing. What a wally! She had boots with high heels that came up to here, and a mini skirt on. She had a top that hardly covered her whatsits, and a sort of short leather jacket. I said to her, "You're going to freeze." "Oh, no, I'm not," she says, and she gives me this funny look. So we settled down to spot. She hasn't brought a notebook, has she? I give her a couple of sheets of mine, but she keeps losing them in the wind. I say, "Well, write them down on your hand and then transfer them to the notebook afterwards. That's what a lot of spotters do." "Nice idea," she says, but she can't ruin her hands. She'd better write them on her leg. "Don't be stupid," I say. "Your tights will get in the way." "I'm not wearing them," she says. And it's stockings. And do I want to see?" "And half the station?" I say, "No." I believe her, and I'll take the numbers down for her. Then she gets bored. And she says, "Can she take the numbers down for me?" I say, "Okay." And the next train that comes in, she misses it completely. And the next one after that, she only goes and gets the numbers round the wrong way. I think she did it on purpose. She's obviously bored, and spotting is definitely not for her. We waste half an hour drinking coffee in the buffet, and I decide to tell her to go and forget the whole thing, when she says she knows this perfect place for spotting, which is a lot warmer. She says that Tim Bixton told her about it. Now she's got me believing that because Tim Bixton was a spotter of some repute. Now why he should tell her about it is beyond me. He was a rather strange spotter, was Tim. Kept himself to himself and always carried a mysterious pale green lunchbox. He often produced some very fine photographs, and we all knew he'd discovered a good hideaway somewhere that none of us knew about. And this Jackie knew where it was. I asked her how she found out, but she just laughed. She said to follow her and I'd find out. So I followed her, out of the station and down the high street, away from the railway.
was a bit strange. And down to the liquor store, where she got a couple of bottles of beer to keep us warm, she said. I said, I've got some tea in the flask. But no, it has to be beer. And then we were off again, down a side alley and back towards the main line. Next to it was a little wood which is fenced off. You can't get into it. Only you can. Inside this little wood was a sheltered clearing with a perfect view of the track. I could tell Tim had been there because there were some empty film canisters lying about, the type that he uses. The grass was all squashed down and there were cigarette ends lying about. Tim smokes. He's that sort of an idiot. Anyway, it was pretty good, really, I have to say. And I lay down on my stomach, and I was practically looking straight out onto the track. Perfect for spotting. I said, thanks, Jackie, I didn't know you cared. But I do, she said. And she jumped on me and stuck her tongue down my throat, as they say in books. I thought, oh no, here I am in this perfect spotting place. I've got this rampant female to cope with. I wish she'd just go away. But I can hardly tell her that when she showed me the place. So we snogged for a bit and I thought that would keep her quiet. No. 1.5 bottles of beer disappeared down her neck while I observed 2 good trains on the 125, all of which I'd seen before. No sign of the one I was after, needless to say. But I kept my ears peeled for a special whistle. And nothing. She goes quiet for a bit. She'd been asking all sorts of stupid questions and putting me off my stride. And just when I was getting ready to note down what was hauling the 10 in from Workington, she says, Gus! I look round. And there she is. Stark. Naked. She just stands there and looks at me. Half of me thought, oh no, if this ever gets out. The other half thought, cool. Well, you know, why not? I mean, yeah. I couldn't really believe it. So then, of course, she starts undressing me and saying the most filthy things. I didn't really know what to do. But before long, we were both in our birthday suits. I'm just so glad it was dark, but I was too shocked to be embarrassed. I said to her, have you done this before? And she just laughed and pulled me down to, you know, do the business. And then she starts moaning and wriggling and panting and gasping. And then, just as I'm about to, you know, she lets out this really low moan. Turned on, you know? Well, this moan is exactly like the whistle of that locomotive I was telling you about. I thought it was coming, so I jumped up to spot it. And that was it, really. That relationship couldn't take the strain. When I realised it wasn't loco, I was a bit pissed off, and I wasn't in the mood anymore, you know. And I could tell she was a bit pissed off because she did. You know, piss off at me. Anyway, that is a good example of how spotting can ruin a relationship. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jason. Unfortunately, Stefani won't have enough time. So now we're going to begin our evaluation. And our first evaluator is going to be Delia, and she's evaluating Nancy. So please welcome Delia back to the stage.